to the Old Geezers show. I'm Chris, and it is Sunday morning, so it must be Sunday catch up, I guess. One of the things I'm trying to do with Sunday mornings is to kind of look back over the week, do a bit of entertainment and interest that I'm interested in, see if you are, and kind of top the week off and look ahead a little bit to next week. Last week, let me tell you, was I think probably our most successful week on record, although in some ways it kind of wasn't. And let me tell you why. It's peculiar, isn't it? One of the things that I did last week on the show was to have a long chat with a man called Mark Jones, who runs an outfit called Toothless in England. Now, Toothless in England is a campaign group, and they are working so damn hard to try and bring people into the picture with the NHS dentistry service, which in reality kind of doesn't exist properly in a lot of areas. There are lots of areas in the UK that don't really have a proper dentistry service. Isn't that awful? That's a dreadful thing to say, I guess. And from my point of view, I wanted to bring that out into the public view a bit more. And I think we achieved that. We've got, for a tiny channel like the Old Geezers Diary and the Old Geezers Show, we've got really a tiny audience, a few hundred people, maybe 500 or 600, and maybe 1,000 on other videos and stuff. And we kind of got a lot of attention on this, and we also got a lot of attention on the lovely Prime Minister. I'm sorry to tell you that, call you that, Mr. Sunak, on our lovely Prime Minister, multi-millionaire Rishi Sunak, who told the House of Commons, and I guess at one removed, the great British population, that dentists had no problems. We have no problems in the NHS dentistry service. They have loads of money and dentists are flocking in there. The truth, of course, is the complete opposite. And we tried to bring you that through Mark. And I think a lot of people picked up on it. So that was our big success of the week, I think you could call that. And then we came on to the next day where I had a problem with it, really, because it was a really difficult one. I found an article, which is this one, which came up in one of my feeds, and it was by a man called Martin Waller, who's an ex-Sunday Times and Times journalist, and economics and stuff like that. And he kind of really does know what he's talking about. And he came up with a story that takes us back into this argument about what the NHS is doing and what the government is doing, as opposed to NHS workers going on strike. The by and large answer seems to be that they're doing as little as they can possibly bloody well get away with, actually. And Martin Waller did a very nice piece, which I have to tell you, I think kind of get some support from other areas on his viewpoint. His viewpoint really is that the government is kind of saying internally a few thousand deaths don't matter. It saves on pensions and healthcare costs, so it really doesn't matter. And then he went back to a previous comment from one of these think tank people, and this think tank person was a man called, a man called Jeremy Warner, and he wrote and still writes for the Daily Telegraph, and he said, from an entirely disinterested economic perspective, the COVID-19 might even prove mildly beneficial in the long term by disproportionately culling elderly dependents. I have to tell you, I think that's a hell of a thing to say, don't you? And that man, a journalist on a very right-wing newspaper, we think has got a straight line into the government, and that straight line into the government is telling that government, don't worry about old people dying. They don't matter, and it will save you money in the long run. What a hell of a situation that is. How do you find it? I find it quite concerning. Do I find it frightening? No, not really. I'm of the age where I might keel over tomorrow, so there you go. But in reality, when you look at families and you look at the way we treat life now, the government throwing up their hands and doing what Boris Johnson did. Do you remember? I don't know whether you would, but Mr. Johnson said, let the bodies stack up high. Now, that's a classic Tory, and I think Rishi Sunak, although he is too clever to say that out loud, is probably saying it under his breath, as are quite a lot of the Tory bigwigs. I am convinced that they are working on the basis of, if you let a few thousand people die, it will reduce some of the costs a bit. You know, we don't mind too much. And that man, Jeremy, let's just go back to Jeremy Warner, he did say this, and other people in the Tory hierarchy have said it before. So there you go. That is my little Sunday catch up on that. We did a story on that. We're going to do a more developed story on that at some point, I think, next week, and we'll do the stories that come to us. If you've got any news that's interesting and you want to tell us, do tell us. Love to hear from you. And if you've got a comment to make, that too, I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget, this show will be sitting on the internet. You can catch up with you can watch it in your own time and still get back to us and let us know what you think. I would love to hear from you. Do keep in touch because it's quite important to me. Now, the other thing that I started last week was a little look at entertainments. And this week, in my off hours, I've been watching this series. It's Jack Ryan. If you haven't seen it, it's on Prime Video. Have a look at this trailer. I think it's a really good, classic old spy tale.
You do this often? Kidnapping people off the street and interrogate them.
You're my first one, actually. How am I doing? Shoot me. I drop this and we all die.
What exactly does a State Department supply chain logistician do?
They work behind the desk. They write reports.
That sounds...
Warning?
Dr. Ryan, I need you to come with me.
For what?
We have to go.
Maybe I'm foolish, maybe I'm blind.
What have you got?
The individual behind these transactions could be a high-level target. His name is Suleiman.
How come you're the only one that knows about this mystery man?
I was just following the money, sir.
They have cells in France, Yemen, Syria, and those are just the ones we know about.
There's something different about his agenda.
I'd like to set up a task force.
Whatever he's planning, he's ready now.
I can't go to Yemen. I'm an analyst. I don't interrogate people. I write reports.
Get on the plane.
We gotta figure out a way to get inside his head.
Musa bin Sulaiman is my husband. He don't know where I am. My son is with him.
Is he planning something here?
Paris was only the beginning.
Just follow along. Watch and learn.
We have to chase this down.
My son. Get him back. Promise me.
I promise you, I'm the best chance you have.
I'm just a man. I do what I can, don't put the blame on me.
And there we are. His, good Lord, there I am. Okay, so here we are. This is Jack Ryan. Jack Ryan is a Tom Clancy character, and that's a classic. I think it's a classic spy thriller movie. It's now up to 3 series, and I'm halfway through the 2nd series. I will probably mention it again. I think it's a fantastic thriller film series. I like it a lot. Give it a look if you've got Prime. I guess, I don't know, but I guess at some point it will pop up on other channels. Maybe, who knows? Okay, there you go. Keep up with the old Geezers show when you can and where you can. Don't forget we're on Facebook and we're on YouTube, so you can catch us anytime. Have a look, give us a like, give us a love, subscribe if you feel like it. I'd love you to subscribe, but that's just my personal feeling. So there you have it. I will see you soon. Take care of yourselves. Don't overdo things. How dare I say something like that to anybody, really and truly? But there you go. Okay, so that's my saying to you for today. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you